Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Be ye doers. Bam. Neville Goddard really nailing it down. Still working through the power of awareness, by the way. And I really want to say, this is a deep book. Someone kind of said, I don't know if that's a good first book. I would agree. The Law and the Promise, probably a really good first book. But The Power of Awareness is an awesome book that really, really heavily gets into consciousness, who we are as a being, because that's basically what our consciousness is, right? If you're someone that tends to have good luck, you generally think good luck kind of thoughts. Like you just assume happy-go-lucky, life works out. If you're someone that always seems to kind of just think everything kind of goes wrong, and that's your consciousness, and you're always kind of defensive, and right, like it's a different vibe. And Goddard really gets into it. Be ye doers really kind of rounds out the teachings that we've got. So he talks about, of course, you think it until you feel it, right? And through that feeling process is kind of how creation happens. Then you got the consciousness, like you kind of sort of become this thing that you want to have. Maybe it's a specific relationship, so you become the man that she can't resist, right? You become the woman that he couldn't possibly take his eyes off. You're like, I gotta look at the road. I'm driving. Stop doing that, right? Like you can be that person. You can be that energy where you know you're the stuff. Or be the guy they want to hire. Be that person that they want to hire. And in that process of being, creates this energy of feeling like I've got it. The wish fulfilled, they frequently call it, right? Neville Goddard for sure. So the wish fulfilled is that I know this is kind of going to happen. I don't doubt it. I don't question it. I know it. And the reason I know it is because I know this works, because I know every time I really just focus and go and do something and get something, that it works. I've done it with people, certainly specific people. When you use SP, and I mean specific, I will say there's definitely been some specific people that I had failed to get to or maybe decided not to or whatever. I've certainly found love on a few occasions. I have an amazing relationship now. But I've definitely used this with people. And you do it from an influencing standpoint, by the way. And like I said, you be the thing that they can't resist. And you'll find they flock to you. They come running to you. They're flinging their underwear at you. And it's awesome. The same's with the job. Walk into a company, walk into the front entry room, and you're like, this is definitely where I'm going to be working. Like I felt it, I knew it, and I owned it when I interviewed. You're being it. You're in that place. So that's what he's talking about with the doing, really. And I've talked about it before. What you think, what you say, what you do. This is how you manifest. Thinking is sort of the weakest of the powers. What you say is pretty powerful. It's out loud. It's physical vibration, right? It is a little more powerful. But the doing, what you think, what you say, what you do, the doing is exceptionally powerful. And the one example I'm going to give, and then we're totally going to get into this, and I'll probably reference it again. I've talked about it recently. Just the one thing that I was super proud of that I've manifested was my job at radio. Man, I got a job at a 100,000 watt classic rock radio station as an overnight DJ. I was the dude spinning the CDs and playing the stuff, and Knoxville's classic rock, like just saying my whole spiel, right? So I did all that for 3 years. I was there, and I worked a bunch of crap stations to work to that point. But it's that process of doing it. I never once saw that I didn't have the job as a reason to stop trying or stop working towards it or stop thinking this was going to work. I didn't see the outcome. I mean, I knew the outcome was going to happen because I know I can, I know I will, and I know I'm heading in this direction. It's never an issue, and I never once said, I don't have it now, or, oh, someone else has the job, or, oh no, maybe I'm not good enough. Yeah, there's times I got scared, but I'm like, I'm doing this. I don't care. I mean, I'd already practiced. I knew I could kind of do it, right? You work up to it, not like you just instantly are an Olympic runner, right? You start jogging first, and then you get better at it. Or you're not instantly a concert, cello or violinist, right? You have to practice for a whole bunch of years, and then you get first seat. You work your way up. I act like I have any clue what the heck it's like to be good at that. But this is what he's getting into. And it's that knowing. That is the living in the end. It's that knowing. I know this is going to happen. So anytime the thought of them, maybe it's a specific person, pops up, the instant thought that you come to is us being together and whatever brought them to your attention. Maybe you just saw a turkey sandwich and that's their favorite sandwich. Oh, they love turkey sandwiches. And I love them. Right? That's great. I'll be eating a turkey sandwich with them, or maybe you see a restaurant you want to share with them, or maybe it's a beautiful sunset that you'd love to tell them about. Maybe it's some poem or thing you saw online or whatever. Maybe you went by the billboard and you saw the company name that you want to work at. Again, these things will keep popping up. That's living in the end. You're like, that's going to be my company. That's going to be where I work. You know it. You don't question it. You don't be like, I wonder if it's going to. And he gets into, finally, one of, I think, last keys, is the power of assumption. So let's get into it. Sorry, I'm yammering on. We've got a really tough quote up front, so bear with me. This comes out of James chapter 1, verses 22-25. This is, Goddard references it throughout this chapter. Sometimes I ditch these things, but this is a really good one. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass, and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. The word in this quotation means idea, concept, or desire. You deceive yourself by hearing only when you expect your desire to be fulfilled through mere wishful thinking. Your desire is what you want to be, and looking at yourself in a glass is seeing yourself in imagination as that person, reflecting back on you, right? When you're looking into your glass, you see the reflection of yourself back. You're seeing yourself. Forgetting what manner of man you are is failing to persist in your assumption. The perfect law of liberty is that law which make possible liberation from limitation. That is the law of assumption. To continue in the perfect law of liberty is to persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. You are not a forgetful hearer when you keep the feeling of your wish fulfilled constantly alive in your consciousness. Now, on the standpoint of my radio, it wasn't so much that I was keeping my consciousness in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, like I'm already a DJ in that place. It wasn't so much like that as much as knowing this outcome is going to happen. That's the feeling of the wish fulfilled to me. Yes, there were times where I thought about it. There were times where I got nervous, like what kind of bits would I do on the air? There was times where I'm like, how do you actually take phone calls? Because I didn't really know. Like I've worked at places where we just took it live and there was no delay. There was a lot of questions I had. I didn't know. But I tell you, I knew I was going to find out and I knew what was going there. So sometimes people get hung up on what's the feeling of the wish fulfilled? It's the knowing, it's the doing. Like, I know this is going to happen. And if it's going to happen, if this is a reality, a lot of times there's kind of a feeling that does accompany that. So I'm not trying to say there's nothing to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I'm saying it's confusing sometimes. So to me, it's also that confidence as well. That's kind of that feeling of the wish fulfilled. Like, I know I'm doing this. This makes you a doer of the work. And you are blessed in your deed by the inevitable realization of your desire. You must be doers of the law of assumption, for without application, the most profound undertakings will not produce any desired results. Frequent reiteration and repetition of important basic truths run in these pages. But you can't just, it's not what he's saying, but you can't just say it, is what he's also saying. The assumption of the wish fulfilled, the knowing that this is going to happen, the assuming that this is going to happen, even in spite of third parties and someone else doing it and things that just don't appear quite right now. Someone just moved out, whatever. Everything can change in a second. It can change right now. You could get a text message right now in the middle of this video, and it could be them saying, hey, I want to talk. That can happen at any second. So understand that just because it's not here at this moment, assume it's coming. Know that it's coming. Understand that it's coming. It's in sync. It's in process. It's happening. We're moving towards it. I'm going to get there. Whatever. Keep hammering towards it. And I don't mean working, belaboring. I don't mean anything like that. I just mean keep focused on it like a laser beam. That's where I'm going. I don't care what anyone else says. Where the law of assumption is concerned, the law that sets man free, this is a good thing. It should be made clear again and again, even at the risk of repetition. The real truth seeker will welcome this aid in concentrating his attention upon the law which sets him free. The parable of the master's condemnation of the servant who neglected to use the talent given to him is clear and unmistakable. Having discovered within yourself the key to the treasure house, you should be like the good servant who, by wise use, multiplied by many times the talent entrusted to him. The talent entrusted to you is the power to consciously determine your assumption. The talent not used, like the limb not exercised, withers and finally atrophies. Very important. Here he's saying it is talent, which, by the way, kind of to me implies you get better at it with time. Talent is something that is acquired. You are never the best at something right out of the gate that you're going to be 5 years later. I don't care how good you are out of the gate. Do it for 5 years, you'll be even better. So he's saying you need to exercise that. And what he's also saying is for people that don't exercise that, it's kind of like a limb that you don't exercise or use, or like when you go into space and you have no gravity to pull down on and you make your muscles actually work hard, your limbs start to atrophy. Or when you have a cast, your limb, you come out when you get your cast off and it's all shriveled up and it's hard to move and it atrophies when you don't use this power that we have, this power of assumption. Even when things don't look good, you assume they're going to work out. You assume it's darkest before dawn. You assume that the birds flock before land. You assume that the answer is blowing in the wind. Reference, if anyone got it, Kansas, good song. Anyway, what you must strive after is being. Say that again. What you must strive after is being. In order to do, it is necessary to be. The end of yearning is to be. Your concept of yourself can only be driven out of consciousness by another concept of yourself. Be the thing that you're going to be. Be the understanding that you're going to get this. When doubts pop into your mind, if you decide to be that for a while, you are definitely harming the direction you're trying to go. You're pulling yourself off onto another road where you're either going to have to U-turn around or you're going to have to make a turn to try to get back to the road you were on. But when we entertain assumptions that are other than in the direction we're trying to go, we are not being what we would like to be. I feel like I'm losing the line in here. But again, his point is the choosing of the path we're going on, choosing the line of thinking, the assumptioning, the line of reasoning, choosing what you focus your energy on is how you manage to make your dream come true rather than constantly getting off case. So the last paragraph. By creating an ideal in your mind, you can identify yourself with it until you become one and the same with the ideal, thereby transforming yourself into it. The dynamic prevails over the static, the active over the passive. One who is a doer is magnetic and therefore infinitely more creative than any mere hearer. Hearer, I think, is probably better. Be among the doers. And what he's saying is, and someone brought this up, and it was actually a brilliant point, but it comes with money, it comes with the law of attraction, it comes with manifesting. Abundance in general is a flow. It's a flow. And when you're being something, you're a part of the flow. When you're just sort of hearing it or thinking it, you're kind of just sending energy out, but you're not necessarily being part of that doer. And the doer is kind of the energy coming back almost, right? Like you send the energy out, like the electrical current for anyone that's crazy enough to understand it, and it finally hits some sort of resistance or like the motor or something, right? And then the motor starts, and then, it continues down the circuit. But you need something to be doing, otherwise the electricity doesn't move. It needs to be doing to move. If you take the motor out or the resistor out, well, the electricity is just there. It's just all chilling in a wire. You just got a bunch of electrons in a wire. They're not moving. And moving is what makes it electricity. It's what makes it current, anyways, to be more correct. It's the same with the energy of manifesting, of being abundant. It's a flow. You want more money? You do need to spend money, not first, but money needs to come in. And when you freak out that you've got extra bills, you're instantly resisting the flow of money. Understand that bills, you're helping pay people's lives. When the mortgage bill comes in, granted the bank and probably people I don't want to think about get a lot of it, but there's people's families who work for these companies, and I'm helping put food on their table. It's sort of looking at being part of that flow actually helps the abundance. The same with love. So being part of that love, being like when the thoughts come and experiencing them, when you get a chance to talk to them, being nice, trying not to carry anger into the conversation, right? Trying to forgive people, trying to do the things that are going to give you a chance to get to the dream that you're going to. For me, with radio, to do the things. I mean, I had to move to another place. That was kind of part of it. But it was out getting that tape out there, hitting the pavement, working hard in the studio, trying to be better or good. It's that effort towards it. It causes you to get better. Your talent increases, causes you to get more comfortable with it. And that's also what enhances that knowing that's going to come. Because in the end, the knowing is what's going to kind of win it out. That's the living in the end. It's that idea that I know this is occurring. It may not be here right now, but I know it is. I look at the gates of Disneyland when I drive by, but I know I'm going there in 2 months. So I don't be like, oh, I wish I could be in there. It's like, oh, I know I'm going. It's coming. It's just when the time is right, when the moments are correct, when the stars align and just the way that they need to, when I finally learned some maybe lesson that exists out there, maybe when I finally change some behavior I'm doing, maybe when I finally go to the store and buy a nice set of clothes to go and interview in, whatever. I'm not saying you have to go out and do stuff from the standpoint of that, but doing and believing the law of assumption. It's that knowing that your fate is inevitable. Yeah, I'll stick with that. That's a catchy term. But knowing that the direction you're going is inevitable. Assume it is. Know it is. Own the direction. Be the direction. Be the thing. Be so awesome that they can't resist you. Know that you are right for that job. Know that you are perfect for them. How lucky they are to have you. Know that. That's why it's going to work out. Not because you're doing some thinking exercise. No. Because you are the person that deserves to be with them, that's going to be with them. And you're the perfect fit for them as well. It's a perfect match. You're a perfect match for this company. You're a perfect match for this new house you're looking for. You're a perfect match for your lotto winnings. You are the perfect match. Know it. Be it. Who cares what else? Seriously. Assume you're on your way to there. Maybe it does take a little longer. Maybe it comes really fast. A lot of things depend on a lot of things. Everyone's story is different. It's one of the things that makes it really awesome. But you're on your way. Assume no matter what. Don't go, maybe I'm doing something wrong because it's not here yet. Like I just did this thing 4 seconds ago and like it's not here. No. Keep doing it. Keep being it. Keep knowing. Keep knowing it's a process. It's like losing weight. If you're a bit overweight, well, it's going to take you a while to lose weight. So you're going to have to get into some sort of new habit that allows you to exercise more, maybe eat better. Sometimes that's all you got to do is just eat better, and you'll find that actually causes you to slough off a lot of weight. Maybe cutting out some things that were actually really bad for you. Maybe that bag of cookies that you would keep in the house. Maybe you stop buying that bag of cookies and just try that and see what happens. Now all of a sudden, maybe you're craving for them, but after a few days, you'll get over that. Maybe you'll find some celery or carrots, right? Something. Maybe there's something that's healthy that's not nasty. I'm kidding. I like celery and carrots. They're delicious. There's no reason to hate them either. They're wonderful vegetables. They're very, very kind, and they like each other a lot, oddly. Being aware of what you've got going on, knowing that you can own this, and doing the assumption. Have some affirmations in your back pocket if you question it, if you're not sure, if you're having a bad day. Have some go-tos. Have some music you like to listen to. Have a meditation you can go to. Have a walk in the park that's someplace close by. Have things that you're going to need from time to time when you start to doubt. That's okay. It's okay. It's going to happen. But know that it's going to be inevitable. Know that this is going to work. Be able to turn yourself around when that happens. Don't just wallow off in that and assume somehow you're a failure, right? Like how much time you spend in that place of failure is up to you. It can serve a purpose. It's a contrast. I'm not against that. Spend time there myself. But I try to limit how much time I spend there because I tend to be really mean to myself when I'm in that place. And that's not all that helpful. Make sure you're doing everything you can to ensure your freedom and your success. Dan Radio Style.